back, explorers. Today, we're traveling across time, ocean waves, and some of West Africa's oldest cultural roots to uncover the incredible story of the Kru people. These are the ocean masters, the empire navigators, the fierce independent fighters who said nope to being ruled by anyone. If you've never heard of the Kru, prepare yourself, because once you hear their story, you'll never forget it. Did you know there was a group of people along the West African coast that European traders dared not to enslave, even at gunpoint? Meet the Kru. Origins and early coastal life. Long before colonial ships reached West Africa, before flags were planted, before borders drawn, the Kru people lived along the lush forest, rivers and coasts of what is now southern Liberia and southern Côte d'Ivoire. Their world, towering trees, winding rivers, and the wide Atlantic Ocean, which they mastered like pros. Many West African peoples moved inland over time. The Kru stayed by the water. As fishermen, canoeists, boat builders, the sea was in their blood. According to oral tradition and supported by historical reports, the Kru originally migrated from the northeast centuries ago before settling on the coast. Early Kru settlements included towns such as Little Kru, Setra Kru, Nana Kru, and King William's Town, villages that would become hubs of maritime life. Over generations, they became legendary sailors, their canoes cutting through surf and coastal waters where many others feared to tread. Their expertise made them highly sought after as navigators and seafarers across West Africa. This coastal life shaped their identity, the sea, the surf, salt air. It was more than a livelihood, it was their heritage. Social structure, culture, and clans. But the Kru were not a single empire ruled by a king. Their society was beautifully organized, but decentralized. Instead of one ruler, there were many clans, each with respected elders or chiefs. Communities operated as extended family trees, where everyone had a place and a name. Social organization was patrilineal. Descent passed through the father's line. Their clans, or Dake, formed the core of their identity and governance. In this structure, they prized values like independence, courage, loyalty to clan, strength through community, mastery of the sea, always the sea. Their culture wasn't based on conquest or vast kingdoms. Instead, it rooted in respect for elders, for the rhythms of the land and sea, for their ancestors. Kru culture included oral storytelling, legends of the coast, ancestral spirits, and natural rhythms. In some communities, spiritual leaders, called Dea, provided guidance and healing to both body and soul, blending medicine, ritual, and respect for their environment. As European ships began to frequent West African shores, the coastal waters became more than home waters. For the Kru, it became opportunity and connection. Their deep knowledge of the coast, rivers, currents, and canoes made them ideal sailors and mariners. By the 1700s and accelerating into the 1800s, Kru sailors, often called crewmen by Europeans, served aboard merchant vessels, trading ships, and even warships navigating the Atlantic. Their reputation for skill and reliability spread from Sierra Leone to the Ivory Coast, from ports in Liberia to distant Atlantic harbors. Kru mariners helped connect inland economies with the coast and beyond, acting as essential intermediaries in trade networks. But sailing for Europeans was a double-edged sword. It brought trade and wages, but also risk. As the slave trade raged, many Africans were captured and sold, yet the Kru, time again, resisted. Resistance to enslavement. During the Atlantic slave trade, European traders considered crew people more valuable as sailors, traders, and navigators than as slave labor, mostly because the crew refused to be enslaved. According to the crew oral tradition, backed by multiple historical sources, many crews resisted capture so fiercely that enslavers found them too risky to enslave. Some sources even claim crew captives would choose death over captivity. As a signal of their status as free people and to discourage capture, many crewmen adopted distinctive marks, tattoos, or indigo dye markings on the forehead and nose, a visible sign that said, "I am free." European traders and ship captains came to fear, or at least avoid, the crew for this reason. In many written records from the 18th and 19th centuries, crew mariners were deemed hardy, courageous, and efficient seamen who were better hired than enslaved. But resistance wasn't limited to the Atlantic slave trade. In 1856, when parts of what is now Liberia were under pressure from settlers trying to control trade, the crew, along with aligned coastal groups, rebelled to defend their autonomy. This defiance, in the face of slavery, of colonial pressure, of outsiders' greed, became a core part of crew identity. Their courage, their refusal to be conquered or enslaved, their insistence on freedom. That's why many call them unbreakable. Shifting coasts, migration, diasporas, and identity. Over the 18th and 19th centuries, as maritime trade expanded, many crewmen left their home villages to sail under European, especially British, flags. They travelled West Africa's coast, to European colonies, and even across the ocean. On these journeys, they formed diasporic communities in ports from Sierra Leone to Nigeria, and even further abroad. Their identity as crew transformed at sea, under contract, among Africans and Europeans, but always tied to their heritage. This maritime migration changed their society. Traditional clan-based structures began to erode under external pressures, economic demand, and colonial influence. Some traditional offices faded. Many crews eventually settled outside their ancestral coastal towns, often growing in cities like Monrovia. Despite the upheaval, the crew identity endured, not just as a tribe in one place, but as a maritime people scattered across coasts, united by heritage, language, and memory. Colonial, post-colonial challenges and resilience. As European colonization intensified and colonial borders were drawn, the crew, like many coastal peoples, faced disruption. Traditional ways shifted, coastal routes, trade dynamics, power structures all changed. Many crew moved to urban areas, young people left fishing villages, communities fragmented. By the late 20th century, there were probably more crews living outside tribal territory than within, the largest single crew community being in the capital city, Monrovia. Yet, through it all, their identity remained, their language, crew, part of the Niger-Congo family, their communal memory, their stories of resistance and sea, their clan values, all persisted. In a world of change, shifting nations, colonial borders, forced migrations, urban drift, the crew spirit adapted. They became mariners, dock workers, traders in ports, migrants in distant cities, but still crew. The crew in modern times. So what about the crew people today? Where are they? What are they doing? Many still live along the coast of Liberia and Côte d'Ivoire, others in urban centres, some still fish and trade along coastal waters, others work in ports, maritime industries or urban professions. Their legacy lives on, not only in communities but in culture, memory and identity. Their ancestors' stories of seafaring skill, resistance and independence continue to inspire new generations. In a world that often tried to erase them through slavery, colonization, forced migration, the crew survived. Not just survived, they adapted, they sailed, they traded, they built futures. The sea is still in their blood, the courage is still in their spirit, and their story is far from over. Why should you care about the crew? Because their story challenges how we think about history. Too often, history is told as stories of empires, kings, centralized power, conquest, and domination. But the crew remind us that history can also be written by those who refused to bow, by those who lived by the sea, by clan, by community, not by a throne. Theirs is a story of survival, identity, resistance, and adaptation. It's a story that connects West Africa's coast to the wider Atlantic world. It's a story of people, not empires. So next time you hear about African history, about empires or colonialism, remember there are also coastlines, canoes, sailors, clans, and voices like the crew whose tales too deserve to be heard. If you want to dig deeper, check out the sources we link below. Stories of the crew deserve to be remembered, shared, and celebrated. So that's the epic journey of the crew people, from ancient coastal sailors to empire-era traders, to fierce anti-colonial fighters to modern West African cultural leaders. Their story reminds us that history isn't only written by empires, sometimes it's written by the people who refuse to bow. But wait, there's more. We've uncovered even deeper stories of the crew, their secret maritime missions, legendary voyages, and incredible traditions that didn't fit into today's episode. Join us for another bonus episode where we dive even further into the hidden chapters of the crew people, their daring adventures on the high seas, extraordinary resistance tales, and cultural treasures that survive today. If you want to see it, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to Review TV so you won't miss the bonus journey into Africa's royal and revolutionary history. Until next time, explorers, keep your horizons wide and your curiosity alive.